Nachelle, but I go by the OG of the HRC. I started my TikTok because I was going crazy out of my mind during COVID, and I just needed an outlet. I've been involved in politics since I was very young, but I just felt like I wanted to just use TikTok to say what I wanted to say, because I felt like some people, what I believe in, people weren't saying or afraid to say. So that's a little bit about me.
And when you say you were in politics for a long time, was it manifesting in being activist and being involved in activities like that, or part of any particular organization?
For the most part, everything has been based around Hillary Clinton. All of my volunteer time, everything has been her. I grew up in a household, my dad was a Kennedy Democrat. And so that was ingrained of giving back and just being involved and getting people to show up to vote. Get out the vote has been one of my big things since I was 18 years old, getting all of my friends to get out and vote. And once Hillary got in the race and all that, that was my focus, you know, 2008 and 2016. So.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, the whole Hillary thing, I don't want to spend too much time talking about that because I know that brought too much heartbreak both times, you know, because it took me, I was a Hillary first before I jumped on the Obama bandwagon.
Me too.
But, yeah, I don't know. I just wonder what kind of world we'd be living in. You and I would not have met if Hillary Clinton won. You know, it's as simple as that. And that just brings up this whole idea that fate that brings us together, which is a random pairing. But to me, it's an extraordinary random pairing because I've been so fortunate to connect with so many great people through this kind of COVID horror experience.
Me too. I feel exactly the same way. There's like you and so many others that it just makes me feel like I'm not alone. And we're all worried about the same thing. We're all concerned about the same thing. And we all want the same thing for the most part. So there's something enlightening about that, I have to say.
Oh, I just feel so grateful for everything is a teaching moment anyway, through tragedy and strife and whatever. But this is what I'm harnessing now, and what brings us together is that I want you to be part of what I feel I'm making into my job from now till November, which is, a volunteer driven, bringing the TikTok community into some kind of cohesive plan towards saving democracy. And I feel like the thing about the Democrats that we all know suck, which is that we're policy wonks and we're not good messengers, and we're not, all the things that we're so much better in terms of that our hearts are in the right place and that we want what's best for the people. But clearly we're at a turning point where that doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
Loving thy neighbor is almost like a bad thing.
Right. I know. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But whenever I watch your TikToks, I am so impressed with your, not only your ability to like zero down on exactly what not only I believe in, but just that you communicate very well the importance of various people to be getting behind. I like some of the people that you've already mentioned. And I guess what the plan is, it's not just, of course, me alone, but I've already had meetings with the DNC, No Dems Left Behind, Run for Something. And the idea is to just get as many organizations that, are trying, I don't know about the DNC that much, but that they have to kind of almost hand over to this group of TikTokers that I'm pulling together through this podcast, through my YouTube channel, to be able to say, okay, let's just talk about one issue for a week. And we do that in our own way to our own people. Of course, first things first is getting voting rights. I mean, that to me is more important than Build Back Better, as I see it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like we need to almost move on from Build Back Better for right now, because if we don't get this voting rights bill, the act passed, then there's nothing left. That's just the reality of it. And I think that people need to also understand that Kristen Sinema, unfortunately, I feel like is not the only one who's apprehensive about eliminating or carving out the filibuster. And I think that that needs to be talked about more, because she, to me, is sort of protecting some of the others. And I feel like someone like Senator Rosen, who has made it very clear that she's not in favor of even carving out the filibuster for the Voting Rights Act, it kind of gets pushed under the rug, and then everything turns to Sinema. And I get it, Sinema is a lot and she's exhausting and all of that, but there's other factors going on. And if we really want to take this on, then we have to discuss that as well.
So tell me, who are some of the people you're already vibing
on? I love Catherine Cortez Masto in Nevada.
I don't know anything about her, but email me after.
I will. So she, in 2016, she was like a bright light on that horrible night, and she won by, I think, 2 points. So no matter what, it was going to be a difficult race for her. But what has happened inside of Nevada is very interesting, because, as you know, I'm sure, it's the Harry Reid machine there. And what he did in Nevada was pretty remarkable by turning it to truly blue state. But what's happened in the off time is that a lot of the more progressive liberals have kind of take over some of these seats and inside of the party. And it's kind of frustrating, because that's not Nevada. Nevada is very blue collar. As you know, it's not all Las Vegas. So she's someone that I'm very nervous about. And whether we keep the Senate or don't keep the Senate, I don't want to see her lose her seat, because I think she's a productive senator. I'm a little bit nervous about Mark Kelly in Arizona, because I think Arizona is just such a peculiar, yeah. And
peculiar is which there's no time to be nice. This is us. We have to like tear it down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. I'm not as nervous anymore about New Hampshire. I think Hassan will keep that seat. Georgia, obviously, we're all on pins and needles for Georgia. Obviously, we want Stacey Abrams. I'm also really looking into governor's races, because if something like Roe v. Wade gets overturned, it's the governor's signature that makes these decisions. So, of course, I'm a big fan of Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan. She's going to be a toss-up state. It's a true swing state. Laura Kelly in Kansas, the governor of Kansas, I would love to see her I think she's perfect for Kansas, So those are the ones that I'm personally really paying attention to. I decided that governor's races were going to be like my thing for a while, to get people informed, because just because you don't live in that state doesn't mean that that doesn't affect you or someone that you love. So I think with Roe v. Wade really potentially being thrown out, that's something that I think that we all need to move forward with, and allowing people to understand how serious this can be, So that's where I'm at right now. Right now, that's where I'm at.
Well, it sounds like Nevada would be a good state for you to adopt.
Yeah, I would happily have, and it's close to me. So, yeah, I would happily adopt Nevada.
Well, think about that, and then we can put together people that we could like kind of put in that camp for to get, because you're going to need, there's going to be things to do. I think when COVID kind of goes behind us, the thing I really want to do, the other thing, the reason why I'm adopting Georgia is because I literally feel like I found Marcus Flowers first. He posted that video of his, and I, like, on the second day I found it. Okay, so Nevada and you make a lovely pair. No, but that just seems like you know a lot about that state and have been following it for a while, so that would be great. The other thing is, I don't know what I did. What other things have you been kind of thinking about to do that?
Well, I came up with this idea recently where it's sort of the same thing that you're kind of going along, where politicians are so disconnected from the public in terms of being seen as people feel like with politicians, they can't get close to them, or they feel, so then they don't bother. You know what I mean? And so I've come up with this idea of trying to get candidates who are running and politicians who currently are in office to do like a cute, like 60-second Q&A of like who they are, not about policy, not about anything like that. Because a lot of times people, it's like the old saying from the W. Bush era, right? Right. Who can you have a beer with? Which is ridiculous and stupid and shouldn't matter at all.
Right,
but
right.
It does. And it gets more people involved. So I was thinking of kind of reaching out and just being like, hey, I would love to do like a 60-second TikTok with Senator, Cortez Masto, and like, what's your favorite movie, or just to get something under the surface. Because I feel like the politicians who are on TikTok, it seems so forced. You know what I mean? Like Kristen Gillibrand has this like TikTok account, and sometimes they're cute or whatever, but it just seems very forced and very unnatural. So if you could just get something that's like, just be you, just answer questions about.
Yeah, I find her so annoying. I can't even.
Me too. Me too. Pro New York, I don't like either one of them, but I just think that that's missing. And if we can get people more connected, then they can feel like, oh, then I'm more interested in this, or what do they do, or what are they behind, or what do they believe in? And I feel like that's missing. So that's something that I'm been kind of playing around with. I started reaching out to some of the communications directors for some of these politicians to just be like, hey, this is an idea. It could be beneficial to you, could be beneficial to us. You're up for re-election, so you need all the help that you can get, kind of thing. So that's something that I've been toying around with. Now they're going back into session, so they'll be more in town and things like that. So, that's definitely something that I've been thinking of recently.
I'm starting this new thing that I'm going to try out on you.
Okay.
It's
all right.
You know how how in the back of Vanity Fair they have the Proust questionnaire?
Yes.
So this is like, that's not as many questions, but I haven't named the questionnaire yet, but that's just going to be a process. But
okay.
I don't want to call it the won't be silent questionnaire. It's too boring. So I have to come up with something, maybe just Abe's questionnaire. But so these are just a few little things. So
okay.
Who would you like to have coffee with, dead or alive?
Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, she's my girl. Mm-hmm.
Is she everything?
She's everything to me. Like literally since I was like 10 years old. I thought she was an amazing actress, but then as I found out more about AIDS and how she just was willing to give up everything to do the right thing, there's nothing more inspiring than that. Nothing to me.
She's so everything. If you became president today and can implement only one executive order, what would it be?
One executive order would be universal health care.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you could replace one person in the GOP, who would it be and with whom? And when I say replace, I mean...
it would probably be, has to currently be serving, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like you're officially giving like Guido, take care of this guy.
Right. It's gonna be Mitch McConnell, because he's like cutting the head of the snake off,
I'm with you on that.
And who would I replace? I would replace him.
That I just realized that second part of the question doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter anymore, because you would replace him with the Democrat I know.
Anyway. Right. Yes, I would. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good. I like that question now even better because it gets right to the point. Top 3 movies of all time. I know it's hard, but just the ones that you think come to mind.
The American President with Michael Douglas and Annette Bening. Love that movie. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Elizabeth Taylor. And probably, Philadelphia Story.
Oh, good. Very smart choices. I like that. Of course, the Liz thing had to get in there, of course.
Yeah.
You've seen all of her films, I'm sure.
Everything.
Right? The top COVID binge show. What was during COVID, what was the one binge show that sticks out? If you need to do more than one, that's fine.
I definitely binged Hacks with Gene
Oh,
Smart, one of the best shows on television,
so
hands
good.
down. My boyfriend is an actor and he's up for a part in that show, and I'm like, please, please, please. And I binge watched that, and we binge watched the Steve Martin Short show with Selena
Oh,
Gomez.
I like that.
I loved it. It was so cute and so different. I love
Yeah,
different,
she was darling. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those are the two that we
All
definitely
right, so
binge.
let's make it 3. So give me one more.
Um, Third one. What else did I binge? I binge watch. Oh, we binge watched The Crown, the original, because we watched it late. You know, everyone else had already watched it. We only watched the first 2 seasons, but that's definitely something.
It's
Those are really good
it's
seasons. But
gorgeous, gorgeous.
mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Now, this is something that's going to come out of left field, but what is your favorite protest song?
My favorite protest song. You know, I'm probably gonna go with something really corny, but I Am Woman stands the test of time. You know, it
That's
just does.
corny. It's awesome.
It stands the
It's
test of time.
awesome. This is silly, but if you had to spend the rest of your life with a bowl and a spoon or a plate and a fork.
A plate and a fork.
Okay. And then I leave you with this, which goes
Okay.
back to who I am and what everything. But if you only had one thing that you would say, I won't be silent about, fill in the blank, and you had to spend the rest of your life defending it, supporting it, being it, what would it be?
Women's rights.
Duh.
Sort of the core of who I am. Yeah.
No. I get it's still a hard question because
Yeah,
when you think of all the things you have to leave behind, but
yeah.
that's a great one. When we look at the numbers of people that showed up during the Women's March, not only here in LA, but around the country, and how many people came out to support Black Lives Matter during the George Floyd aftermath, and how many people came out to rejoice when Trump lost. We got the numbers. It's a matter of just making sure that we can put that same energy into this November election. Because if we show up, we're going to win.
Exactly. Which is why Republicans make it harder for you to vote.
Yeah, because we're desperate,
Right.
desperate losers. I cannot stand them. Anyway, so is there anything else you want to add into this?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm excited.
well, stay tuned. You're part of the core group of, militant TikTok army.
I'm honored. I feel so honored.
No, it's gonna, you know what? It's gonna be great. I am gonna die trying. I'm sure you might know it maybe from past TikToks of mine, but my mom survived Dachau and my father survived being sent to Siberia to work camps. So if you think I am going to live my life while they've passed away in a fascist society, which is not like I'm afraid I'm going to be put in anything, but 10 years from crazy comes crazier, So
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right
there with you.
We're in it. All right. Well, thank you so much. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I'll
Happy
keep
New
seeing
Year.
you on the internet. Thank you very much. I'm glad you wanted to do this.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you.
Bye, honey.
Bye.